Found the Possum at Getting Nerdy MTG. Today we're going to talk about building a limited deck. In this case, we're going to use a pre-release kit from the new set Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Now there are two types of limited for the format. You have draft, where everyone has 3 booster packs. You all take turns, or actually you don't take turns. You all sit at a table together. Everyone opens their first booster pack. You choose one card out of that pool, pass the rest. Pick up the cards that your neighbor's passing you, choose one card, and pass the rest. Pre-release, also known as sealed events, are a little bit different in that everyone has 6 packs, or in the case of a pre-release, 6 packs and a pre-release promo. You all open your 6 packs, and from the card pool you have there, you build a 40 card deck. So we'll get started. The pre-release we got out of this pack is a March of Burgeoning Life. Additional cost to cast the spell. May exile any number of green cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less for each. Target creature mana less than X. Search your library for a creature card with the same name of that creature. To build our deck, we'll start with opening up our 6 packs. Everyone's got their own way of doing this. Personally, I start with separating into colors. Just to see what I'm going to have to work with. This is a brand new set. I have actually only seen cards out of the set once so far. I slacked a little bit and didn't watch the spoilers as I usually do. But I did play one pre-release. Didn't do very well, but it is about the fun. In this case, our rares Invoke Calamity, 4 cost, cast up to 2 instants and or sorcery spells, total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard or hand without paying its mana cost. I'll usually set the rares aside because that'll kind of give me an idea of what cards I think I want to play, what direction I may want to go in. Okay, see if we can run through these kind of quick. A few returning mechanics in this set, namely Ninjutsu. With Ninjutsu, basically you have an unblocked creature. You're able to return that creature to your hand and Ninjutsu in a different creature, tapped and attacking. A lot of the creatures with Ninjutsu will actually have a additional ability. The idea is that your opponent doesn't see it coming because it's not already on the battlefield. Here we have one of the Ninjutsu cards. You can either play this creature out of your hand for 2 mana, or you can return an unblocked creature to your hand, Ninjutsu this in for just a blue, and when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Unless, okay, so if this entered as the Ninjutsu ability, you do not have to discard. Simply just to draw. And we have another one of the Invoked Calamities. The deck I actually played at pre-release was blue-black ninjas with some additional white enchantments thrown in. This is a fairly enchantment-heavy set. Let's see. The main difference between doing this in a sealed format versus draft is here you know all the information before you actually make your decisions on what to build. You have your entire mana pool in front of you. Sorry, your entire card pool in front of you. You know every card at your disposal. You can make your decisions based on fairly complete information. With draft, you don't know what you're going to see in your other packs. You build your card pool one card at a time without knowing what is going to be available. In case anybody has wondered at this point what the clicking noise you frequently hear in the background, we have two dogs. We're horrible about keeping their nails trimmed. What you're probably hearing now is them walking around. And we are almost done separating our cards. I also have to mention the basic lands that are available. I personally think these are absolutely gorgeous. And I missed a rare somewhere, because there is at least one rare in every pack. I like the idea of the Invoked Calamity, but I tend to try to stay away from expensive, one-time used cards. The Teachings of the Curran, on the other hand, a little bit of creature generation in the beginning, then token generation. The sagas in this set, traditionally with sagas, once you activate the final chapter, that saga goes to your graveyard. In this case, this will be exiled once you hit chapter 3. So it will leave the battlefield, and then it'll return transformed. And let's see if we can find our additional rares that I managed to miss. Not in the white. Not in the blue. There was one of them, was the March of Sorrows. Seems like it would be fairly good in a specifically mono black deck. With card pools or with sealed and draft, a lot of times you can't build mono colored. In some cases you can. I've done mono green a few times in draft. Okay, so that should be all of our rares. Just from flipping through, I don't know that I want to be in red specifically. Take a look, see if we've got a bunch of instants and sorceries. Got a little bit of warrior-centric stuff going on. Some equipments. Let's see, one option with this set would be to go heavy with ninjas. See if we have much with the ninjutsu ability. We've got some vehicles. With the vehicles, it's an artifact, typically. Just stays on the field as an artifact. It's not a creature. You can't attack or block with it. But for the crew ability, and here we have reminder text for that, you tap a number of creatures you control with total power, whatever the crew cost is. And this vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Now, one thing to remember is crewing is not a tap ability of the creature. It is a cost for the activated ability of the equipment, which means haste and summoning sickness. You cannot do activated abilities, you cannot do tap abilities or attack with creatures that entered this turn. That does not apply to crew. So you can use a creature that is freshly summoned to crew a vehicle. Not seeing a lot I want to work with ninjutsu specifically. If you're not seeing a specific theme you want to go with, another option is just to see what colors you think you might like to be in. Line up the cards you've got of those colors. See if you've got enough there to build a deck. In some case, you have to splash a third. I ended up going 3-color with the pre-release I did. 3-color, it makes it a little bit less reliable. Okay, I'm thinking we may want to see what we can do with sagas and enchantments this set. Which case we know we have a green one. Could go green-red. See if we have any payoffs for enchantments. What I like about doing the sagas is you get the payoff from each of the chapters, and then when everything is said and done, you have a creature left. We also want to see what we've got in the way of removal. With red, we will typically have some removal spells. There's removal. There'd be a saga to possibly use. Yeah, this card pool is just kind of all over the place. It's not really telling me which way it wants to go. Okay. Not sure how strong it'll be in this case, but let's see what we can do with red-white. We may throw in some green. Red spell. Once you know what colors you're going to be in, you can start laying everything out based on mana cost to get an idea of your curve. So we have 3 drops. If we're going to play red, we will possibly go ahead and use the invokers or invoke calamities, even though it is a 4 cost. If we have enough instants and sorceries, it could make it a viable payoff. With it being a 40 card deck, you want roughly 17 lands. 17 is what I typically try to go with. Which is going to mean at 17 lands, we need 23 cards other than lands. We have from removal. The 40 card is a maximum. You can play more. It's not necessarily ideal. You typically want to stick to the 40 card minimum, just because the more cards you have, the less likely you are to draw the cards you actually need. I don't believe we have much discard synergy, so we don't need that. This can possibly move. Starts out as a 1/1, but when it dies, it's going to make something else a little bigger. All this for 1 mana is not a bad idea. With 2 color, I don't think we need mana fixing. We don't really have a lot of token synergy. We'll set this one around aside. Modified is if it has an equipment controlled by anyone, if it has an equipment on it, or if it has an aura that you control, or if it has any kind of a counter on it. Don't know that we're going to have enough artifacts to make that viable. This will give us another kill spell for removal. There again, I don't think we need much fixing. This is a fairly expensive artifact to use. The crew cost is low, but to have to pay 7 to cast it, that's if we've got room, we may slot it in, but it is fairly expensive. So to get an idea, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. We are at 23 cards. Actually, I'm not sure if I counted this one, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, we are at 22 cards. So we could go ahead and put in let's see. We have another enchantment. You can choose to use whatever criteria you want when you build your deck. If it's something that's just going to be fun for you, it may not be as strong. But that winning the event or winning the rounds may not be what you're out for. You just want to play cards that you enjoy getting on the field. This game is supposed to be fun. For most people, winning makes it more fun. That may or may not be used, so you can let that play in when you're looking at how strong of a deck you're trying to build. Here, it looks like we should get a fairly quick start. As far as threats, we've got some kill spells. This is going to let you bounce something back to your hand. We're not really doing... Well, no, you can put a counter on creature or vehicle and tap it. So it's a good combat trick. It could save one of your threats that's on the board, save it from being destroyed. We have more removal. So in this case, I think removal, we are okay. Let's see, do we have much in the way of damage to our opponents? Samurais or warriors. Okay, what we've got here, it should be playable. We've got our early game stuff to get down within the first 1 or 2 turns to establish a little bit of a board presence. We've got some stuff to play mid-game to kind of help stabilize a little bit if we've gotten behind. And we've got our, so we're at 23 cards, so we need 17 lands. In our card pool, did we get any lands for red-white? We did not. So these are not going to be of any use to us, which means all of our lands will be basics. We need to determine the number of mountains versus plains. To do that, I compare the mana costs, or specifically the colored mana symbols in our mana costs. So for red, we have, it's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. For white, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So slightly more red than white. So in this case, 17 lands. I would say we do 9 mountains and 8 plains. Once you get your deck together, it's a good idea to do a few test runs just to see if you've got your mana base right. This is a fairly simple, straightforward one, albeit not very strong, but strong deck isn't always what wins. Sometimes it's reliability. This one should be fairly reliable. It's got an even mix of red and white, so we're not likely to end up with the wrong colors we need. So I guess that is about it for deck building. In a later video, we're actually going to do some limited gameplay. Not sure if it'll be with this set or not. I know I've got a set, a box of Unhinged, one of the unsets from earlier years of Magic. We're going to play some with it. But the decks for it will be built using these principles. Appreciate y'all joining me today. As always, if you're not already subscribed, please do so. If you are subscribed, you can, or even if you're not and choose not to be, you can still like and share the video. That really helps the channel out a lot as we try to get it growing and get some traffic going. In any case, y'all have a good day, and we'll talk to you next time.